The views expressed are solely those of the individuals providing them and do not reflect the opinions of the Team Stock Pase podcast or their respective affiliates or sponsors.
The United States is where we're headed. 2026 is going to be 250 years, right? That's as long as that's the longest rule that you could have before it crumbles. So this is the final stance for them at this point now.
So it's like history repeating itself.
That's it.
Pretty much.
That's the one thing that they can't control is just nature and just the natural course of cause and effect.
Mm-hmm. This is a great segue. We're going to do our headlines, and then after our headlines, we're going to get the audience involved. Mm-hmm. You had said something in your, and I'm paraphrasing in one of your posts, that you're the president of you and your family. Can you kind of deep dive into that? Because when you said that, it was kind of like very profound when you said that.
That's very, very profound.
Yeah, I don't have a savior complex. I'm not looking for somebody to save me. Mm-hmm. I don't work for anybody, so clearly I wake up every day, I have to make a decision. All right, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. How are we going to do this? There's no set schedule, or it's just everything's moving at the speed of light. Right? This is the first time in history that economists can't tell you what the next 20 years is going to look like. They just can't. Right? So the statement of the president of my own life is I see how invested people are, and I would have thought Trump and Obama would have been a nice one. Right, but looking at the matchup we have now, we have black and white, and then we have him and her. You know what I'm saying? And I'm watching the divide based on like just things that stoke emotion. So as they're doing that, I'm just the president of my family right now. I have to make sure that we keep this in line, because there's nothing that a politician is going to do or say that's going to change what I do today and tomorrow. No administration. Can anybody sit here and say, and outside, if you played a money game and you actually donate with mm-hmm. a axe, then that's different. Mm-hmm. But they know we don't play group economics. So we just get what we get.
Powerful.
Real quick, I want to talk about, if you don't mind, your wife is right here in the audience.
She's
How is it, like, I mean, you have to be constantly, how do you obviously set your time to, you got the class, when you said husband, father, educator, entrepreneur, how do you guys like set your time within the 24-hour days? Anyone of y'all? It's a lot of information this man knows, and I'm sure it's passed on to you as well.
We work well together.
Okay.
We just have different roles that the synergy works.
Mm-hmm.
So his mind doesn't stop. The ideas are, if he's a visionary, I always said he's always been 10, 15, 20 years ahead. I'm in the present, so that's a good balance of he is our leader.
Gotcha.
He forges us through with heart first, and he's just really, really smart. And then I'm here, I got the present, I'm centering our family in the reality of what we are now, and he's spearheading us to the future. So it just works very well. As far as our time, we're pretty free.
Good.
We have our freedom. And he gets up and he works out with our kids 6 a.m., then he's back to the garden, and then, he gets to his office and his computer, and he's just really efficient with his time. In the same way that he can talk about, always getting straight to the source, that's always been his model with business. Mm-hmm. He get an idea, then he's in China. You know what I'm saying? He's go. He gets a piece and he's go. So he's very efficient with his time. He cuts out a lot of the fluff, and I think that's how he's able to maximize his time with the business.
Okay.
To where he's been available for the family for, as much time as needed.
Very nice.
That's beautiful. No, that's beautiful. The only reason why I asked is because you mentioned right now with the currency that's happening, and time is important.
Yeah.
And family is important.
Yeah.
People that surround you. You're like Haitian CEO says, audit your circle.
Yeah.
So you mentioned your wife and your family a few times in the letter as well.
Right.
So it's important that we understand, like we're always chasing that dollar. But as you get older and your experiences, you're like, wait a minute, I got to start chasing time.
Right.
Because you don't get that back.
And I'm super present for them. I put aside a lot of money in spending that time with the family, right? Because that's the value.
Nice. That's
right?
beautiful.
I don't even like the price products. I used to give this stuff away, but of course, free is like no value free. I have this new pace that I've adopted, and it's scary for a guy whose mind is always racing. But I've been saying this lately, I've simplified life to the most common denominator. And what do I mean by that? You start to look at the needs and the wants, right? Yeah, we have a real estate portfolio, but I'm to the point now where I'm like, I'm done with that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want it anymore. You know? I think we get too caught up in, I go where I'm celebrated, right? Just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean you made it. I got a lot of zero money days, man. Right? It could come in a chunk, and then it could be 6 months of nothing. So you have to be accepting of that. So I've been doing this my entire life. You know, I've never, anything that's going to take me away from her and my family, I'm not interested. Right?
That part.
I'm not interested.
It's powerful.
And then you have to ask yourself, because we've been talking about this lately too, is like, how much is enough? I can't answer that, right? Because I got everything I need, I have. Everything I need, I have. Go ahead and shut the world down for 30 days. We good. When the pandemic happened, it was a home game. I've worked, our daughter was born 2012. That was the last time I had office space in New York. Since then, I've been working remote. So I'm constantly there. What I was struggling with a lot of times was the stress level, right? Emotional intelligence, just she's everything I needed, man. Because she has to get the raw end of the situation. Then I got to figure out a way to like get back into like house mode. Now it's all beautifully. I've mastered that part. You know, I don't see my business. I don't measure it on money anymore. And I started living life when I started to simplify it that way. I'm more about impact. I'm good already. So now I'm playing the energy game. Nature has taught me a lot. Just sitting outside. Patience, signs. If you watch my page, I'm like feeding squirrels. It's a lot to get a squirrel to come up to you and just like.
What are you feeding these squirrels, bro?
I promise you.
If I ever see Glad
Feeding squirrels
in Brooklyn.
I promise.
Nah,
you.
that's
And listen,
that's
so
cool.
this has just been like, so in the past couple of years, I've just been more on a spiritual journey and then
That's
just
great.
investing in self.
I was going to spirituality.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Powerful.
That's a big part of it. Right? So I'm able to, and everybody asks me, how are you able to balance all this? I'm like, listen, I don't be tripping on this money. Because when it was horrible. I was a horrible person. And then you're willing to do anything for it. Even risk your freedom.
Right.
Right? So I don't measure men by like what they do. I look at the family makeup. If we're going to do business and you tell me a story about cheating on your wife or something like that, I'm out. Conversation's done. That's just where I'm at right now.
Right.
That means you can do anything to me.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So the perspectives changed. I'm still growing, still learning. So I think I'm at the best space of my life with the least amount. You know, we have a lot invested in cryptocurrency. I think the other day it was a little bit more than what we have in fiat, right? So that could be scary times because I'm like, they're not using crypto yet. right? It's not fully adopted yet. I'm not trying to let go of stuff just to let go of it. So that's the part you got to kind of work through. But I think what happens with us is we take on more than we can actually manage, right? And it was wild just watching the pandemic with all these influencers and the money and, you know, everything was flowing, to watch people, these new set of entrepreneurs, and I'm like, this ain't gonna end well, because this isn't for everybody.
Right.
You know, I was the guy that no one liked to come to if they had an idea. Because I just tell you the honest stuff, like, bro, you gotta, you know, you don't have time for this. You could make something out of it. It's just gonna give you kind of part-time results. What you focus on expands. It's just basic laws. You know, so I was always that guy. Just not talking people out of things. Just, all right, well, if you could make it past this conversation with me, I got you.
Right.
I'll give time to you. You know, so I just realized how most people just, again, they just want to spend $1 million, and this is why they fall for every trick in the book when somebody's telling them what they can make. I've never once told you guys what could be. We know the possibilities, but this isn't like a reoccurring. You can make this much. Now, if you trade and you do other aspects, but there's a whole psychology behind why some people are more successful than others. Sometimes you just have to accept that you're not put here to be a billionaire. And even if you were, what would you do with the money? We got the wrong guys at the top of the food chain. Give it to me, watch everybody eat. Right? Give it to me, watch everybody eat. I say it all the time. There's no real wealth in teaching people. Okay? I have a wild background, so I could easily dupe people if I wanted to. Right? Because I understand human behavior. I understand what tickles everybody's fancy. Oh yeah, $1 million in 30 seconds. Right? All the memes from the NFTs. Then they come to us and they're like, education? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how it works. Ask these guys, how are those pet rocks doing? Right? Every single influencer out there has blocked me. And these are my brothers. You know, and they block me because I'm just the adult in the room. And Storm, that's another adult in the room. Right? So we're just to a point now, and I tell you, if there's people online that are selling things, if they can make it past 2025 cycle to 2026, let's have a conversation.
Got you. Let's open up the audience. Joe, you got the mic. Anybody has any questions?
Make them
the
good.
microphone is for our recording, so you won't hear yourself.
Hello. First of all, I just wanted to get the first question in because I got to get back home. I drove up from Providence. And one of the things I wanted to know, you got a connection with Providence, and I wanted to know what it was afterwards.
Familiar too.
Yeah, I met you and Champ down in Atlanta.
My guy.
Champ gave me his number. I never used it. I just wanted to tell y'all how much y'all meant to me. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And one of the things that, like, I love how y'all always big up each other. First of all, both of y'all are brilliant. You and your wife, you know what I'm saying? And recently...
That's beautiful.
You talked the other day, like, on .Connect Wednesday, like, it gets, like, therapy hour now. Like, for me, like, I know a lot of this stuff. Like, when I found out a lot about this stuff, like, I dove in. So I know a lot of this stuff, like, where I started teaching people. So I come there because of, like, the community, and like I said, it was one day, man, like, some people were, like, crying, and when people are like, oh, what are you going for? And I'm like, it used to be Skyton, crypto, but it's like, it's deeper than that. It's real estate, it's holistic medicine, it's how are you taking care of your mental and physical health, like, it's all of that, like, things you learn from nature, like, it's hard for me to tell people, like, what this community is. So for me, it was like just really important to just come out and like just support, man, because y'all, like, I see what y'all do. Like, I've been rocking with y'all for a while. Like, you know what I'm saying? And one of the things that you said the other day is that leaning a little bit more into the calling that you feel like you had, like the spirituality of it. And so I wanted to ask you about that. Like, you know, like, how did you start seeing that, and where do you see that going, and how will that impact the community?
Yeah. Wow. So Providence is a little rip from here. You're about 3 hours. Are you in Providence or?
Yeah.
So my Providence backstory of Providence, real quick. That's where I went to undergrad. Actually, my wife and I met there. I was definitely supposed to be there, but I wasn't supposed to be there. I waited for her, so this was all in the cards. The spiritual journey, and I've probably always been on it in some way. Just the language just wasn't there for so long. But my wife has played such a pivotal role in just being so grounded and centered. It used to drive me crazy when I was moving, right? And then I had this ego, and it was like, what? Tell me nothing. Right? Back to this money thing again, right? Identifying who I am by what I do and what I can purchase. You know? So the pandemic really was kind of that pivotal point where we started, and we've talked about this before too, we started to go on these shamanic journeys with mushrooms. And I would say that was probably like maybe the start. She got into astrology. The circle just started to change. You know, the pandemic created a separation that was like needed, right? So all our friends from back in New York, that kind of dwindled. It opened up room for like new relationships. And again, the person that's centered is always going to meet a different, set of people. And all of it was really spearheaded by my daughter, a lot of the stuff. Right, so you meet all these activities, you're meeting people through as you become an adult and you have children, you tend to meet adults, parents of your child's friends and things like that. So I would say the shamanic journeys were probably that most pivotal point where it was just like, what's my mantra from one of our journeys?
Crypto is a vehicle.
Crypto's the vehicle, real estate's the play. So I started to see a lot of real estate in these journeys, and I'm like, nah, that's not me. I have no interest in that industry to that level, to the point where I thought it was my daughter. Probably she has that knack similar to me, and my wife, again, being grounded, she knows all things. She's an oracle. She starts to break it down. She was like, no, that's you. So now I had to stack off of that. Like, what is this about? I need protection now, right? Because the way I move is similar to a lot of leaders, and none of them made it past 50. And I'm like, I could help people, but I kind of need to be here. And my wife, she needs me too. You know what I'm saying? So that's the part there when you start to really tap into self, and then self-discovery is a long journey, and it's you need time. So that's why the pandemic was pivotal, because that was the first time that we really had time, right? We were ordering. We played around for the first couple of weeks. It was like Netflix and DoorDash was nuts. It was like every day. You know what I mean? So it just created this pace where it was like, all right, I don't really have to commit to work. But then the calling started to come really at that pandemic. It was a pivotal moment. And I don't think we could ever repeat that in history again. So I don't know how you guys spent that time, but we didn't spend the time like stressing about anything.
But back to your question about providence. It is really interesting, the essence of providence, because the actual definition of providence is the protective care of God. So we met in providence. Both of our children were conceived in providence. So all of that was within the protective care of God. It was designed. It was a beautiful, safe place to start out our life. And that's the essence that we have carried from Providence. So that really is a special place. And I'm so happy that you came all the way from Providence.
Wow.
So essentially, Skyton Academy was conceived in Providence also.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know how you put that together. Like that's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's a lot of synchronicity.
Anybody else have a question? Don't be shy now.
My question is, I hear you talk so much about community. So I guess my question is, because I'm a participant and a student, my question is about tribe, right? Keeping yourself around people that are going to help you grow. make you a better person, what do you implement to bring that into fruition, to attract those people and also to filter them out of your life?
That's a good question. So David is a gentleman name there with the question is David. David is I love this kid, man. He's been around me for years, right? We have a real estate venture in New York currently, and David used to he came on board, but David was young, he's smart, he's driven. You taught me a lot too, David, right? One, patience, and never count somebody out. Right? No matter what we told this kid, he did the exact opposite. That's exactly what you were supposed to do. Right? And I don't think I ever told you that. You were supposed to make those mistakes. It wasn't for me to save you from that. Right? And just so you know, you always got a home here too. When you start to change the energy around you, everything just seems to change instantly. Right? So I'm just being. She's been saying it. I mean, I had to go to Tony Robbins in California. I had to go to all these other places. Everything I needed was within the house. But sometimes you just don't see the value. Right? So again, I didn't take the heed. I had to go bump my head a few times. This is the attorney of the family, and she's only worked my cases because I didn't want to listen. Right? So once you change the frequency in which you operate, you will start to attract a different set of people, situations. This is why I never panic anymore. I'm putting out way too much to be worried about what could happen that I can't control right now. Figure it out. I love you though.
Oh.
That's my guy right there.
Anybody else? Oh,
Storm's right behind you.
got questions now. Storm Leroy.
Peace, family. How you guys doing? It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. The question I want to ask you is, at what point do you let go? At what point do you realize your ark is full? You're Noah, and all the space has been filled to capacity. You no longer can keep trying to provide information to people who have turned off, they're disconnected. And now it's about you rebalancing and grounding yourself, taking your shoes off and walking through the grass, because it's about your family and about your well-being.
Right.
Did you come to that conclusion that you know it's coming, or you set a date, or you realize it's inevitable that you can't keep doing this because it's only going to start ripping away at the core of what you believe people can do, and now it's going to start weighing on you that maybe people are not engineered and as savvy as we thought they were because we envisioned too many people of us saving, but it's time to let go of the flock and now let them deliver the message. Have you felt you've got to that point yet, or when did you get there?
So I'm here now with it, right? I truly enjoy what I do every day. I start the day with balance first, okay? So the academy is not work to me. I've questioned even just recently, like, why am I even doing this? You know what I'm saying? But either way, if I pull the academy, I still have to fill it. I'm going to fill it with something. So I ground every morning. I'm in nature. So that already gives me the balance that I need per day. And then I came to the realization that it's not meant for all of us to come. Once you start to realize that part, you start to simplify life now. So I ain't tripping, right? You're one of those guys, you know. It takes more energy, and I got this guy, Big Dog, man. It's my guy out in Texas. He's one of my students, and I learned so much from my students. He's like, Big Dog, you cannot force a bear to climb a tree. It just is. Like, whenever somebody's ready, they're just ready. You know, and
Right.
if I have to apply the term, you know, how I'm feeling about cryptocurrency, it's like, shit, what if everybody did get in at the ground level? Who's selling? Right? We just need some people to come in late. That's just how life is. So I've already put down the saving everybody mentality. I did that years ago. And then once I mixed in the taking care of me first, I used to think taking care of me first was paying yourself first. These white men have created this wild system. I no longer operate with a lot of the quotes that you hear floating out there, as great as they seem, right? Language, my wife teaches me this, it's important to understand language and how it's being used, because a lot of the stuff they drop on us is not powerful. It sounds great, but when you start to really dissect the language, you start to see that you're really just casting a spell on yourself at that point now. You know what I mean? Hustle, grinding. Like, yo, do you know what the definition of that is? I don't want to be part of that. Shoes off in the morning. First thing, every day, balance. Appreciate that one.
Nice.
And then just so you know, like how the Academy is built is really just our championized lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? So we don't lead with money and all this. So yeah, that's the premise of it. It's obvious. Like, we do need it. It's a tool. But the health and wellness, the personal professional development, all that is as important, because there's going to be a burnout time.
Right.
You know, there's going to be a burnout time. But the only thing that really burns you out is the thought of not having enough of something. I was so ungrateful damn near half my life. Ungrateful. You know, being first generation Haitian American, going out to Haiti was a big piece of the puzzle as an adult, and seeing it through my visionary eyes to see like where my parents came from, and I used to go every year until 8th grade when my grandmother passed away. So I do have a history of it, but seeing it as an adult, going out there to try to do business in your own land, and then just seeing how happy people are with the least. No shoes, no nothing, beautiful skin, great teeth. And I'm like, wait a minute, we don't really need all these products, right? They've just simplified it because that's all they have. So any little bit that I gave, there was so much appreciation that came back. So Skyton Academy doesn't feel like work because they are appreciative of everything that we do for them. And I'm not busting y'all down with the amount of master classes that in the charges that these other guys are charging. You know the difference between us and them. I let that speak for itself. And I never profess myself. There's never any marketing guru. All those names came from other people, right? My students will tell you what it is. They tell me what it is. That's what keeps me going. So if I give up that community, I lose a lot too.
Right.
Because without them, there's no telling where I would be right now. Yeah. Thank you guys too.
Talk about the ebook.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So
what's included in that?
Yeah, there's a QR code in the back. So, and I titled them. On the right hand side is going to be you scan it and you could register for the masterclass next week. I'm going to actually give you a detailed plan of what's happening. It's going to go a little bit more in depth of what we did tonight. And then there's an ebook on the left hand side. It's called The Plan Reloaded. So it's going to show you the past, present, and future. I give you articles so you'll understand how money was made, what happened. You'll see the correlation between the two. Then I go into time management. So we have a time management worksheet that we created, and that's probably been the most profound product that we put out this year. You literally go in, how much hours you sleep, travel to work, everything is on there. And then you could add your own list, it'll calculate it. Then you get a total of how many hours you spend a week on things. Every one of my students that took it started to take inventory of when was the last time you took inventory of your time? Go to work, come home, cook dinner, sleep. Go to work, come home, dinner, sleep. Go to work, come home, dinner, sleep. Weekends, you don't have no energy. You just want to chill. That's not really living to me, right? So now I started to look at the time. All right, Netflix. Everything that we saw that most of my students that can't accept was the amount of time they spent on social media. My time's a little different because my time on social media is spent working. You can do one or two things on social media. You can learn and build a community around you to get information, or you can could be part of a clown show. It's a big circus. So once you start to understand your relationship with time, you don't say things like, I don't have time. Because when you say you don't have time, that's your most valuable asset. So what are you doing? Why are we still on a hamster wheel? So you're working this hard to just make ends meet.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
The missing element of it is your job it can afford you your lifestyle today, but the investing, that's where the fortune is at, right? Anything worth the squeeze takes time. So this is why this 10 years in crypto is really important. And what really keeps me grounded with not making money on a daily basis anymore is to know that I have a nest egg. You know, it's not until I plug in like my cold storages to kind of organize things and I'm like, I go through those same struggles every day, just kind of looking at it and you know, I kind of fall into it a little bit, then I'm like, all right, just kind of grab it back. So this is the part of being present. This is the part of when, you know, when you have practices like meditation and things like that, it helps you take a beat. Mm-hmm. And then my wife, she's just beautiful with her words because it's always, she sees things from a different paradigm, right? I've afforded her first the lifestyle to create what she's doing now. She could have easily went to the marketplace. She's an attorney, licensed in New York and New Jersey at one point. She could have easily went to work for 6 figures. But then what happens to the balance of this family unit? Mm-hmm. Right? My wealth was always tied to my family. That's how I identify wealth. That's what keeps me going every day. But if you can't keep the family together, what do you have? Where's the purpose? Because it can't be wrapped around money because it's so fleeting.
Right.
It's the worst girl you can date. She dates everyone that's willing to do anything for her. That's what we're chasing every day. And trust me, we are not skilled enough to do what these guys are willing to do for that money.
That's true.
Let's take your time. Everything we have is here. You're right where you're supposed to be.
There's a question over there.
I know you mentioned cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
There's thousands, well, hundreds of different crypto coins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think about XRP?
That's the one, man. We keep telling you guys, that's the one. So XRP is, and mind you, this is the only cryptocurrency that's regulated, right? It is not deemed a security. They fought the SEC for 4 years and spent about $500 million during the worst economic times, okay? XRP is what I like to call the elephant in the room. It was the first project I invested in 2015. And this is not for investment advice. I'm just telling you the research that I've done on this company. XRP has also been a gift and a curse for me because when I got involved in crypto, I went all XRP because I know the future is built on that. What that company is doing right now, not going to do, is they're going to tokenize. They have the ability to tokenize the entire world liquidity. We're talking about quadrillions. It's a different number. So even if they can capture 1% of the market, you understand? So XRP is and I don't want to go too deep with it, but at the end of the day, guys, it is one of those projects that I tell people, research it first, understand, because it will give you the pieces to the puzzle. It's not the only coin, right? But it is the main coin. You understand? So it is going to tokenize, and XRP is really what's going to save. And if you think about the timing of the Ripple case, right? They just cleared it. Mm-hmm. They have 60 days to appeal, but the judges denied every single appeal. So after 60 days, we'll know this is definitely out of the clear. The timing of it, why the government brought Ripple into litigation was to slow down the train, not to slow it down for it to advance, more so to allow the U.S. banks to catch up. The United States is behind on this technology right now. I pay people I work with in Nigeria, I pay them in cryptocurrency. They're further along. Third world countries are further along in crypto adoption than people in the United States right now. You understand? So you got 6% of the world population currently invested in cryptocurrency. And I'd say out of that 6%, maybe 0.5% really know what's happening.
6%?
6% of the world population. It goes between 6, 7, I've heard 9, but it's really 6% of the world population. We're talking about in its infancy stage, $2 trillion in market cap with no cosign, built on the back of people. So when you look at things like Dogecoin and you call them meme coins, I look at community come together and could build and give $50 million to a project.
Right.
Right? You know what the biggest meme coin is right now?
Which one?
The Harris administration, her campaign run, that's a meme coin. I didn't know that? No. You're investing in a meme coin. It's going to give you nothing in return. The same thing for Trump. He is accepting cryptocurrency. He's a meme coin. I own Trump's NFTs. Right? I own his NFTs. They're up in value. He's a guy, it don't matter what point in history, whether he wins or loses, you will always remember his name for a multitude of reasons. Mm-hmm. You are investing in meme coins already. Just no one's ever said that to you. Hey, Mrs. Harris.
Question? Oh, go ahead.
Part 2, is XRP available here in New York?
Yes, it is now.
It
wasn't before.
It is now.
It is now.
Okay.
So think about that, right? That's a big development there. So you have to understand this. So in order for XRP to move a large amount of liquidity, it was really created to be a banker's coin, right? At $10,000, it was created at $10,000 to become a banker's coin. And the reason they set that number is because in order to move the world liquidity and keep everything stable within that 3 seconds to get it from A to B, the coin that's attached to it, or the technology that's attached to it, has to have that much liquidity in it. It has to be valued at that, right? So right now there's 40 million of it. Mm-hmm. Once they start to unlock it and the banks start to buy it, go time. That I'm telling you, that's going to change a lot of people's lives. That particular project, and I'm not talking about from a monetary standpoint. I'm just talking about from I'm just talking practical now. It's not investment advice. It is going to change the way that people do business in the world. It's not until none of us. How many people are really sending wires to different countries and things like that? Right? My guy. You know how old this system is. Mm-hmm. You understand? Nobody wants money to move faster than the guys with the most money in the world, because they're restricted on holidays and this and weekends and things like that. And you need permission. Mm-hmm. Right? When I used to send wire transfer to China, I used to have to go inside of the bank and fill out wire forms. We use the system. The system being used today is called a SWIFT. I'm not saying this because I'm regurgitating something. I was sending money across the globe, and it wasn't happening instantly. So then that means it affects everything, right? And on top of that, the fees behind these transactions, there's like a cost. So every single country that this thing is hitting their network, they're collecting something from it. Why do we need that system? That's what XRP solves, right? It brings back liquidity into a world that needs liquidity. It's not Bitcoin, guys. It's already shown that it cannot work a world economy. It can't. And the fight with the XRP case, the government here is just trying to really, at the end of the day, they want to, I don't want to get too deep in that, but just understand that they bought the elephant in the room to slow down a train so that the United States can catch up. Gotcha. So when you hear Donald Trump and them talking about cryptocurrency and the changes that are about to come, maybe the attempted assassination, maybe not, but at the end of the day, anybody who talks out against central banks have been a target for assassination. So say what you want. I could tell you that if the problem is fear, then you're not seeing it the correct way. Because let me pose this question to you. Even if they brought back segregation, would that be a problem for us? No. You answer it how you want. I'm just telling you. But we are all one people, so I'm not saying whatever. But if you're scared about them segregating us, we've already been segregated
it's
from a lot
it's already happening.
It's been like this.
Yeah. Right.
It just doesn't look the way they taught us. They just got better with their practices. Mm-hmm. Right? So you go to the bank, they know who you are. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm getting text messages on my phone for the election that certain other people aren't getting. You ever get a text about being a DJ at the polling booth? Mm. Ask your coworker Tim if he got that same text. Mm. I'm just telling you, the data's out on us already. They know who to give the opportunity to and who not to. Mm. Mm. We just don't know how much power we have. They do. Right? Because if even a fourth of what is done to us is done to any other group in this world, there's no way that they wouldn't have been extinct already. So that's the part. We are culture, we run all things, but we own nothing.
Yeah, that's got to change.
Right?
There was a question over there?
Yeah, so it's just like a two-part question. So the narrative around crypto has been negative, right? So like JP Morgan, all those guys you mentioned, they had a negative sort of connotation around crypto. Do you think that narrative is changing?
Yeah.
And then the second part would be, what are the narratives that we as a people, narratives in crypto, should be paying attention to in the next coming year or two?
Yeah, that's a good question. My guy right there. I like this guy, man. He's always front row and center. So clearly it's changing. I said it before. A billionaire will never push something that they don't benefit from. JP Morgan has been working on a coin for a while. These guys have, they own damn near Ethereum already. So the thing you have to understand about technology, and Bill Gates said this, they asked him what his biggest fear was. His biggest fear is, and even to this date, that there's some kid somewhere in a garage creating a product that he has no control over. Right? So this is why when you have an idea, a tech company in Silicon Valley would just buy you out. You understand? Because they just need the idea, whether it works or not. Absurd amount of money are being thrown at these kids. So with that said, you can see these guys switching up because they're slowly integrating the old world, the old way of thinking. They're not visionaries, these guys, because they would be creating the technology. You understand? They just have more money and control. Right? That's the difference. It's not about the ownership. They have control. They can control the politics. That's really the president of the United States.
Yeah,
You're voting for the wrong people. The presidents are the guys who are actually
just puppets.
That's it.
Yeah.
So when you think about the voting system and it being, and I'm going off track a little bit, but it costs 6 figures just to cast one vote for somebody to capture that vote. So how are these politicians raising this money? How many times have you donated to a campaign outside of maybe the other day? Some of y'all might have threw some money in that conversation. Never, right? So they taught us that the power is in the vote, but it's not really in the vote. But the way they could placate us is our ancestors fought for this. Right. And I'm like, shit, my people from Haiti, so I don't even know if we kind of did our own thing. You know what I mean? So I don't know about that story. And I don't know someone that picked cotton. And I'm not trying to be ignorant. I'm just telling you that we got to kind of let go of these old ways, still acknowledge what the history is, and let's just learn it. But to complain about a system that we didn't build, that's not built for us, is kind of a waste of time. So yes, those guys are in the game now, but the problem too is they're keeping people hyper-focused on just one or two things. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Solana. So what people are doing is they're following the institutional money. I follow what the projects actually really do. And some they're not that great. And then the second part to the question was,
what narrative should you be paying attention to?
Crypto is going to teach people how to work together without a middleman. And that's important, right? My guy right here is in real estate. How much hoops do we have to jump through with continuing education, this, that, to just do that job? You see what I'm saying? So everything in this country is about just being indoctrinated into a system and making sure that you have the education that's closed off to a lot of us. Right? I could sit here next to Jamie Dimon and all these guys. I run circles around these dudes. All they could do is just try to out-talk you with some words and then just backtrack the way they do and then just go somewhere else but people always believe these guys because they're in a suit and tie and they're worth, and they just tell you they're worth what they're worth. But do we know that that is the real truth?
Let's do some headlines real quick.
Let's go.
You think this
about a little bit of it. Go ahead, Rob.
Real estate. We dip and dab into that. You think there's going to be a correction in that residential housing market?
Here's the tough part about real estate right now, right? So I've been on the sideline since the pandemic, just watching, analyzing shit that doesn't make sense for the way I invest. We have a supply and demand issue in this country, okay? I used to attend these tax auctions, and there's no more property since the pandemic. Okay, so when they put the moratoriums on all things, everything stopped. So there was a bunch of foreclosures and tax lien sales and everything that just didn't happen since the pandemic. We had no due process. Where did those properties go? Okay, so what the banks are doing is they're unloading the real estate to institutional guys. Anytime Wall Street touches a product, it's over. They don't have people in mind. So all those single family homes, that's it. That's owned by institutions. It is going to be there. The World Economic Forum, the 2030 agenda, the pretense of what they say, and this is the quote, and it's not me, it's these guys, is own nothing and be happy. You will lease air in the future.
That's crazy.
I'm being honest with you.
That's
you will
crazy.
lease air in the future. All right? So real estate is, really the commercial real estate is what's going to collapse a lot of banks. Right? Retail stores are closing down.
It's already
It's happening already. This is happening. It's just a matter
yeah.
of they're just allowing these banks to, you know, not just all get crippled at the same time, because that will spook a nation. Imagine if 5 of the biggest banks just closed down right now and you guys had your money. How would you be acting? Right? Everything is on auto charge. You keep telling me these mortgage companies, they need their bread. Right? That's going to put people in a panic. It's going to put, you know, people are going to be stressed out. So the real estate market, you know, my guy Storm's in real estate. You know, we all have different views. There's 100 different ways to invest in real estate, right? Everything is real estate at the end of the day. That's how I look at it. It's not just a building with land and a BRRRR strategy and all that. No, there's a multitude of ways to make money in real estate. And really the best way to make money in real estate is to be a bank. But nobody talks about buying notes in our culture, right? Because we're kind of a copycat culture. You know what I'm saying? Oh, fix and flip, buy the hood, it's cute. You know, I stopped buying the hood because it just didn't work for my soul. You buy a property from someone who looks like you and you sell the property to someone who doesn't look like you, and then you raise the taxes, and then more people lose their homes because they can't afford the taxes. Buy the hood. Okay.
Good point.
What's the other government program? Opportunity zones. I paid my last bit of money to go to a summit. Not Fortune magazine, another big financial company, whatever. I get in this room, I'm hearing what the opportunity zone is because we hear about it, and it's like, oh, it's all this money in the hood. I'm like, and then then it's the elephant in the room. I'm like, oh, these boys are wicked. They found a way to put it's redlining, right? They heat censored a map, and it was wrapped around the hood, and it said, you can go invest there, and if you keep your money in for 3, 5, 7, or 10 years, you get this tax reduction. After 10 years, if you park your money there in the hood, you don't have any liability. Wow. No tax liability. But what they didn't tell you was you already needed capital gains. So in order to get capital gains, that means you had to have flipped some money. So now with capital gains, you're allowed to go back into real estate, same product type or bigger. So they're not doing anything in the hood outside of just parking. They're not creating opportunity. The company has, the opportunity zone has no oversight. You understand? You could thank Obama and those guys for that situation. Wow. But let's talk about it. So
That's crazy.
Real estate will bottom out. And you got to think, so they cut the rates, property values go up. This is part of the kicking the can down the road. So where are my children going to be in the next 10 years with real estate? It's going to cost them $1 million just to buy a 3-1 flat. So what I've been doing was I stopped with the mom and pop fix and flip, and then I'm more so looking at the affordable housing or workforce housing. So there's ways that you can I'm looking at the technology, the advancement in real estate. And what do I mean by that? You can build houses, you can print houses now. I'm studying that market. How do we get material cheaper? How do we build systems around building homes? There's just too many people attached to the homes. You know, Home Depot is one of the biggest lobbyists. That's where I'm going with real estate now. I'm like, yo, why is my insulation this much, and why do I need to put a R99 right now? Because they lobby and petition to say, oh, this is what's needed to keep the home, whatever, but it's just a money play at the end of the day, but it ends up costing us more. So I'm going to figure out a new way of doing real estate.
Powerful. You spoke about cyber attacks, blackouts. You think more is coming?
Oh, for sure. Listen.
What, both?
All of it. It's happening every day now.
As we get closer to the election? Or
just for sure.
Or just in general?
So understand, the reason for the blackout one is because you guys are doing too much learning on the internet. You understand? There's too much information being spread across the internet. So my guys that are in here that are influencers, they're actually educators, it's a lot harder for people of my type to send out a message. So they suppress our information. On top of people don't really care about it either, so it's not going to go too far. But if I sat there and literally shot somebody, I'd go viral. Right? Trump even said it. He said this years ago before he even had political aspirations. He's like, listen, I could shoot somebody and still be the Republican nominee. That guy's a visionary. As dumb as you think he may be, he's not that dumb. He's not dumb. The guy is pretty smart, and if he doesn't know something, he puts the smartest guys in for it. He's just there to stoke emotion. Remember, he's just a salesman at the end of the day. Right? That's it. That's all he is. So yes, there's going to be more blackouts. Remember, when everything moves digital, we still have the cybersecurity part is always going to be a threat. Someone could instantly take your money. You understand? This is the Zelle networks and stuff like that. Did everybody know there's 7 banks that own Zelle? Right? But when these banks get called into Congress, they act like, oh, that's a third-party situation. We don't have anything to do with it. But J.P. Morgan, all these guys, Bank of America, they all own Zelle. So Zelle is a real-time payment solution, but Zelle is also a centralized product. Why are things going missing? You see what I'm saying? They are already stealing our wealth, and we don't even know it. So yes, there's going to be a blackout. There's going to be a black swan event, right? That's when every market is going to be affected, and I mean everything is going to be bloody red. But the part of the blackout that you have to understand is when the blackout happens, when the lights come back on, the blackout is going to be nothing more than a system being transferred overnight. So they just need enough time, right? Because when you need to upgrade your computer, you have to shut it down, put the parts in, put it together, and then turn it on. So the blackout is not going to be what you think. It's going to throw us off, for sure.
So you're saying we're going to be in the dark with candles, eating canned tuna? I mean, that's what you're saying to me right now?
If you're not ready, yeah. So part of this, and we talked about it, we're going to do a 3-part series. This is part 1, the plan. Part 2 is going to be artificial intelligence, so showing you guys how to prepare yourself for the future, right? Ways that you can make money in consultation. So when industries start to die and new industries come, there's still a need for human labor. AI won't replace people. People who use AI will replace people. So now because of my skill set, I could do the job of 40, 50 men and women. So if I go to a company, how valuable am I? You paying everybody $40,000 in here? I'll take a $500,000. I don't come to the office. You want it or not? Like, this is what I'm going to be teaching people how to do. And then part 2, so now you're positioned for the future. Part 2, or the now. And then part 3 is going to be the preparedness, right? Survival skills. So we've connected with some people that already put courses together to show people how to survive in case there's a blackout. Do you know how much water to have per household member in your family?
No.
Do you know what goods to keep in the pantry?
Just some canned tuna.
Right? Do you know that you might, do you know some of the most valuable things and what people need that you may not use? White sugar and cigarettes. I had no clue. I'm learning all this. I'm like, wait, white sugar and cigarettes, but, oh, it's for trade. What would somebody give you if they're addicted to cigarettes? Right?
Because they panicking.
So
That's
this
powerful.
is, if you never need it, there's no problem. Just make the beans. You just eat it over time. Drink the water. But if you do need it and the stores aren't open, how are you going to transact? Cryptocurrency included. And there is technology in cryptocurrency that if the lights go out, that system still stays up. Y'all don't know about that.
Flashlights, generators.
All of it. Weapons.
Guns.
Listen, we don't even do the gun situation because they make us feel like if we have guns, it's like this, like it's bad work. No, it becomes threatening to them at that point. This is why black households don't believe in firearms. But that rosary could work around somebody's neck. Right? And I come from Haiti, so I'm not downplaying religion. I'm just telling you that, look, if something goes down, you gotta figure it out. Then you have to start researching like anarchy laws. Right? Illinois has an anarchy law already set into place. If somebody comes on your property, you can't call the police. They're not going to come out. You have to figure out how to eliminate that threat. So you're asking me to just lay somebody down now.
Wow.
Anarchy laws. So if we have anarchy laws and stand your ground, it's going to be in every state.
I think Florida too, right?
It's already Louisiana.
Louisiana.
So when you live in these stand your ground states, y'all got weapons? And can you shoot like they can? They've been prepared. So this election right now we're at a precipice of a race war. You follow Ray Dalio, he has a book. And he talks about this. This is the last iteration of what's going to happen, guys. We are due for a race war in this country. Because what they need to do is they need to create a big problem amongst people so they can continue to just keep connecting these systems. This has happened in South America. South America crime got so bad that the governments allowed it to get bad. Right? This is how you gain control of a nation. You allow the crime to get so bad that they'll give up their freedom for you to just get rid of these guys. So when you see all these males coming into this country with no family, what do you think they put here for? This migrant situation. Be careful who you're voting for.
That was one of the questions, right, Ron?
Depopulation agenda.
That's a big one. So that's ran by, that's eugenics. That's going back to Bill Gates and his father, right? You start looking at these. There's some names you need to Google. Bill Gates, George Soros is another guy. You want to talk about some of the most powerful men in the world? What they do is they have so much money, they use their money to create instability in the world. They change the social climate. So now we don't know if it's, you can't address somebody without confusion. When someone's in a confused state, they could be controlled. They're doing it to our children right now. Our kids have to deal with pronouns. You know me, there, and there. You know, my wife hates when I say this, but whatever, man. You know, like, why'd you have to do all that? You know what I'm saying? So again, a confused state. I don't really spend my time in confusion because I create systems and plans of action. So yes, depopulation is a thing. But just think about it. If you built a community right now, wouldn't you want it of good stock? Mm-hmm. Don't you want your kids to marry the best possible mate, right? With the same ideology and culture? I have conservative viewpoints, right? I can't just think that, we're just going to play around with each other and then we can't create. And when we can't create, there's no life to come after us. Like, at what point does civilization end? As they keep continuing, right? Their women just don't want to have babies with them. That's the part that they don't want to talk about. So the whole world's going to be brown at some point. They're trying to stop that part, but you can't stop nature. So yes, depopulation is a thing. The pharmaceutical industry, the vaccines, we kind of know. Food and Drug Administration in the same office is kind of, it's dumb. You see what I'm saying? We keep falling for the banana in the tailpipe. You know, I'm not surprised by civilization anymore. I'm not surprised by it. We've gotten to a point where it's just like nothing matters until it matters, but then it's too late, and then you just have to conform with whatever the times are. When you're the president of your situation, you kind of look at your agenda every day. You look at it every 4 years. Once they get in, what happens? They come back? Kamala or Trump? Kamala?
Oh, you saw it.
You saw it, right?
That's the last one.
That's the last
Trump,
one?
Yeah, Trump or Harris.
No, so, what I say is split the baby in half. That White House is big. Put her on one wing, put him on another wing. I mean, let's be honest. It's really like you can't even vote independent anymore because that's considered a throwaway vote. So then if I don't vote, then it goes to Trump. But then if I do vote, I have to vote for her because she's black and I'm black. But then she won't do anything for black people because it's for all people. Like, I get confused by politics, so I kind of step away, right? So if I had to vote for both and I'm single party, for one single reason, to be cryptocurrency, because that's what I care about the most. Okay. I want to know that there's not going to be an administration that's going to create what they call CBD.
The central
bank digital currency.
Okay.
Central bank digital currency, once you start to hear that word and government start to implement it, when government gives you money, they're allowed to program the money to say you have an expiration date on your money. You'll literally look at your account and they'll say 2 hours to spend $1,000. And that's what will keep stimulating the economy.
Wow.
Okay? So this is where we're headed right now. That agenda is gonna definitely happen.
China, right?
It's already in China.
Yeah.
Right? The controls are already in place. The cameras are already set up. Everything is there to detect. The mask, the part with the mask, how it didn't work? It did work. The mask wasn't for safety. The mask was for when people cover faces, the technology needs to then read this little bit. That's what the mask was for. Okay? There's always a cause and effect. You got to peel the onion back. When you join our academy, we just peeled the onion back. The shit be scary. Now you got to I can't unsee all the stuff that I've seen. Right? My kids are going to outlive me. So how am I going to leave this situation to them? So if you're not training yourself, then you're not training your offspring. So at some point, they're going to dumb down your lineage. That's depopulation. And they don't care. It's not about black or white either with the depopulation. Because everybody is kind of put in this blender. The strong survives. That's it. The strong survives. It's always been like that in civilization. It's only a few of them. Just imagine we all sit at a table and we're under the table and you got about 5 or 6 guys sitting around the table. What if we just all got up at the same time? What would happen to that table? Think about it. And when you start watching, and think about it, it's the last one. You have a doomsday map. Google that, right? It shows you exactly how the United States is going to look. So Florida is going to be underwater. California at some point would break off with the earthquakes and things like that. And then there's this pocket, Montana. So when we guys are looking at real estate, you need to go look at where the land is of abundance.
The Midwest, yeah.
Right? They're not doing that to like, for the reasons that you think they're doing it. One, yes, they are taking the farm out of, like, food out of it. Right now it's just going to be tech food. Cool. Then they're going to build these tech cities, 15-minute cities. All of this was in the agenda plans already. These 15-minute cities and things like that. So what I've been doing was I can't stop that train from happening. So, all right, you know what? I'm kind of investing in our own demise at this point. Right? I'm investing in the infrastructure that's going to power a lot of this stuff, but I'm looking at the good in it. And then if I can train enough people to say, you know what? We don't have to live in these cities. Convenience strips you of your innate ability to do things. Start to understand it. We have all this convenience around us and we have no time for anything. Convenience is supposed to save us time. So where's our time going? Where's our time going right now?
Powerful.
Right. Every tech company, if they did the right thing and they paid us the proper weight, as opposed to using our data and selling it to other people to then sell things back to us, because that could only work but for so long. So if they did the right thing, honestly, you could make about $60,000, $70,000 just from your data online. So at the Academy, we teach you 3 things to do with your data: maintain it, minimize it, and monetize it. So if I told you that cryptocurrency has projects right now that can pay you for utilizing a phone. I have a $20 phone plan right now with a company called Helium Mobile. It's a blockchain mobile company. We own antennas in our house, antennas at different locations. We're giving off signal. We get paid for that. The easiest way to build infrastructure moving forward is with people, because we're everywhere. So far from the days of having to erect a tower and then having to maintain the tower. It's costing too much money now. So crypto guys said, you know what? Forget the towers. Let's let people make money inside of their households by keeping a device that's going to give a signal. The signal, when you look at them now, they cover the entire United States. And then what they do with the data is they allow it to be open source, meaning anybody could take that data and build a product off of it. You need to be training your kids to build the products off of that. The right products. Because these guys got another set of products. And their end game is domination. You understand? So it pains me when these young brothers and sisters are online regurgitating things that were created by a person that doesn't see people. Right? So a lot of our financial teachers that are out here in the space just don't know better. They just don't know better. You're throwing around this word billions. Yeah, we're going to be like, what? Do you know how many verticals it takes to get to that word? Just because they think it's easy because there's a one attached to it. 1 billion. And then they give the title to guys like Jay-Z and Kanye and Rihanna. No, they are not worth $1 billion. Their companies have amassed that. But then we know that there's expenses that go in and out. We know there's high times and low times. But it's not until how many guys could really say that they have $1 billion liquid? No, he or she has to sell everything in order to actually have that. Right. But the general person down here just doesn't realize it and just like, if he could do it, I could do it. No, these guys are different, man. You know, they're willing to do anything.
Literally. Literally.
That's a whole other episode.
So let me ask you, somebody else had a question? Oh, go ahead.
You kind of touched on it a little bit, but something that you said regarding just the political, and we don't do group economics. Yeah. Where do you see? Do you think that there is opportunity for us to improve in that category?
100%. So what we have now within the culture is a lack of leadership, right? We're in a world now where we're headed to. They're starting to censor us. My account was shut down last night. Instagram, literally. I just went on to go check something, and it's like, yo, you're out of here. So I'm like, cool. All right, I knew this was coming.
This is your first time?
First time this happens, right? Because I be towing the line. I'm not even towing it. I'm on it. You know what I'm saying? I just bring it. It's whatever. I know it's their platform. Okay? So when I created a product years ago in New York, and you might have been around at that time. It was called the Black Card. Okay? It was a product that was supposed to connect the black dollar, so consumers and merchants. So I go to the merchants, I broker a deal. I say, here's this plastic card. Any consumer that comes in here with this, you offer a discount. And then we started to build a website back then. I had no real programming experience. It was just a great idea, right? We have a meeting with WBLS. It's supposed to be a black station. You know what they did at the time? They took the idea.
Wow.
They took it. They just took it. We heard it. We were driving one day, and it's like, what?
That's
they
crazy.
never called us back, but we were young. You know, I brought all my guys to the meeting, and we were all there like, yo, where's the office? It would have been beautiful, right? Nothing against WBLS, but that's what they chose to do at the time. It didn't even last like 30 days. Okay? So now with cryptocurrency, we can create, and I still have this idea too, to create a coin around anything that we want, right? And then you start to wrap goods and services around it, and then you start to invest in the proper vehicles. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing, guys. You don't know how you're going to manage millions of dollars if you've never managed it before. So be careful when you're hard on a lot of these brothers that have raised capital that kind of fudged it because they just kind of didn't read the market correctly. And some of the biggest real estate mentors that I follow, they get whipped and beat all day too. They just have the ability to create more income. You know why? Because they're able to go to their friends and their circle, and because they love each other and they love each other's family, they will never let each other fail. No Jew should be left behind. I work with them. No Jew should be left behind. It's a simple practice. You understand? So, you know, can we do it together? I don't know if it's not a black thing, it's a cultural thing. So the quicker we get to understanding that and then we start to build that community and that tribe, it'll change. But I think we have to drop the fact that, come on, man, I don't want some of these brothers in my house. Let's be honest.
Ray in them.
No. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of have to redirect this like black thing. And we don't identify as a color. That's another problem. This is why on paper, like, so Trump or Harris, Harris on paper is not African American. Right. When you start to understand like the classifications in this country, you start to understand that, you know, that James Brown, I'm black and I'm proud, like a lot of that stuff was a campaign. There's nothing to be proud about. When you look at the paper, it comes from nowhere. You're dead at sea, right? So when you start to look, and even Dr. King said that before he died, he was like, yo, I led my people into a burning building. He didn't realize what was happening at the time, right? They gave us civil rights when it was supposed to be human rights. So we're still arguing over civil rights. It's like, come on, bro, who wants a foot on their neck? Nobody wants that for anybody. But if we could sit there and be accepting of what's happening in Palestine or what, you know, oh yeah, the Russians, they blocked their accounts. And I'm like, oh yeah, bugging. They blocked their accounts with no due process, no judge, no jury. They got you conditioned already. They will do the same thing to you. And that's where we're at in history right now. So we're just teaching you how to sidestep this world. Don't get too, and if you're gonna do politics, go all the way in and do politics. Like, don't do it because it's her or him. But I don't know. So let me answer it. And so what did Trump say the other day? He says, do you want the white guy or the black lady? So I'm throwing my vote away, so it's going to Trump. I need crypto to be ushered in correctly. I truly feel that these guys understand the financial pulse. The world's going to shit anyway. We already have enough divide in this country that he didn't create. He didn't create this. This has been created under every administration. Whether it's a black president or a white president, it's just like, yo, we just aren't seen. We don't ask for what we need or what we want, and we don't stand up for ourselves. You understand? So how am I voting? Just don't throw the vote away. Empower yourself with the knowledge to understand each one's track record and then what they can do. Because, you know, people only vote Republican to preserve wealth at the end of the day. They don't really want Trump in power, but they will not vote to diminish their wealth. No matter if they thought it would be better for the greater society. So everybody's just out for their own. I could tell you that you can't fight a war without finance. And if we don't own guns, how do we protect ourselves?
Yeah.
And if I create another, or when I create another Black Wall Street, that won't happen on my watch. I promise you that. You were left naked. These guys are savages. You meet savage with savage, and they pipe down.
That's true.
It's not race. It's just a savage comes to you, energy. You match the energy.
Energy, yeah.
You can't pray your way out of this one. I'm sorry, guys. We got to put religion aside. On this one right here, we got to put religion aside. We got to put race aside, and you got to make the decision based on what you think. And listen, at the end of the day, if nobody voted, do you think we'll have a president the next morning? It's already
already done. It's already written. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everybody. It's a spectacle. At the end of the day, these guys have the power is not there. The power is really with these tech guys that are going to tell them what to do when they get into office.
So you're saying we're just watching a show? That's
it. We're just, I like to say I'm part of a movie that I didn't sign up for, but shit, they put the wrong guy in the movie. You see what I'm saying? They put the wrong guy in the movie because I care too much about people to worry about me preserving myself when I know I'm good with combat.
Right.
I just need to prepare people around me, because if we leave this world like this, who are my kids going to date? Your weak son and daughter? And like my wife says, it's kind of like, what's the thing? You can say it. You're safe. I'm protecting you.
No, like it's a real question when they bring somebody home. Like, were you vaccinated in 2020?
I mean, we're just asking certain questions. It's just a matter of wealth preservation is about those tough conversations too. You understand? Because divorce could wipe out a whole lot of things.
Right.
And our kids could wipe out somebody else's wealth. But we're not growing them up to think like that.
Right.
So when you come into this organization, there's certain things that we have to check off, but we're scared to ask how much you make a year, right? What's your credit score? No. How old are you? Like, there's these things, everything is like, the information is behind the secrecy. Those are the important things. Like, why wouldn't you want to know what's this person's viewpoints on finance?
That's true.
But you can't talk about money. Who created that? That's how come we'll never know our worth. If you knew that people that work next to you and guys I work with make X amount of money, you'd probably be like, what the fuck? I have friends in the corporate world that know that they're grossly underpaid, and they are way more valuable, but they have to check boxes. So every day in my inbox is a thank you, Steve, for saying that. I can't say it because my employer would pull the plug on me. Thank you, Steve, for saying it. I'm like, damn, I'm put here for this. But this is the journey. This is what I'm put here for. If I don't do it, then who will?
Have you found your purpose?
Yeah, listen, my family is like, I'm so rooted. Me and her, we've done this before in past lives. So for as long as I know, like, this is, like, the pact that we have is we're going to do this again. No matter who goes first, last, or second, or whatever. Like, we already know that we're going to do this again. And when I come back again, I'm just really put here to, you can't give me a dumb mission.
You're a humanitarian.
I'm a humanitarian. That's our life path. We're both number ones. Number nines. So we're humanitarians at the end of the day. So my purpose is really to just preserve humanity.
Powerful.
It's okay. It's not difficult. It's, some challenges, but I got it.
Powerful. Any last closing remarks, success stories that you want to share with people in the community that you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Yeah, don't let the lack of frustrate you. Don't give too much power to something that was created by man that has no real value, right? And just gratitude. My wife used to drive me crazy with this, and I'm back here just regurgitating what she's been telling me. Everything we need, we have. And listen, if you don't have, all you have to do is lean on somebody else.
Right.
But if your circle is not built, then birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
You understand? So
100%.
We have to have more of these engaging conversations. We have to bring, I love what Storm is doing with just his communities. It's a family community. Like, you have to invest in community. You have to get to know who you're investing with, who you work with. How many people work with people that you don't even like? Your ideologies don't match up. They own your time. And in exchange for it, they pay you. right? So once we give up our time, we give up our power. And I can tell you that everything that is giving me power today doesn't have a dollar amount on it. And it could sound a little cliche, but I'm actually living this because I was a dude. And if anybody knows me, you know I was in that money game. I get to it. And now I'm like, nah, it's kind of whack.
Man, we really appreciate this. This was,
Wow.
guys, y'all like that? Wow. So the next time we do this, Champ gotta be
man,
here.
yeah,
Champ's
Champ's
gotta
another
That's
guy.
gonna be part
man.
2 AI.
So we're doing another one of these, right, guys? We're doing another. So what's the next one we want to do?
We're going to AI. We're going to start preparing you guys for, what it is.
Okay.
How to properly position yourself. I think we've when you operate from a space of fear, there's always going to be an inability to create action and movement.
Okay.
So what we need to do is just embrace the technology because it's here. And even if you don't think it's important for you, there's someone younger in your family that's going to be deserving of that.
Okay.
And it's about time that we got to stop the fish fries when somebody passes away. You just got to start handling your business.
And for part 3, what did you want to discuss?
So part 3 is the survival. This is how to prepare yourself for these blackouts.
So we got to do all of this before the elections,
We
before
have
the
to do all
blackouts.
this before the elections.
Okay. All right. We got
Everything will be done by September.
Okay.
Yeah. And blackouts would probably happen. You're going to probably see a lot of issues in October. Okay? You're going to see a lot of issues in October. The United States is going to lower the interest rates possibly this month as an emergency and then in September. So that's going to drive a little bit more positive sentiment in the markets. You're going to see a lot of money coming to the markets in September, right? October is usually a downtime. And then they're starting to buy back the T-bills. So this is the bond. So, the U.S. prints money and they sell debt to the world. Now the world is giving the debt back. So that means all this money is coming back here. So we have to do something with it, right? And this is when they're going to start to tokenize. If you invest in the tokenization, the infrastructure of that, you will be rewarded handsomely.
Got you.
Handsomely. But they just know that none of us have the mental fortitude to even want to go down that rabbit hole. And I'll be honest, a lot of these assets are really like less than $1. So, even if you put the price of your Starbucks in every other day, it's something. But I think that the knowledge in itself is what's going to help you. So right now, I'll be honest, I have maybe 6 more months of teaching cryptocurrency. I've kind of already moved off it. I'm moving into implementation now. So we're going to, I'm showing people how to build systems within cryptocurrency.
Powerful.
Right.
Everybody here knows where to find you on social media. Let the people know when they see this recording where they could check you out.
Hopefully you could find me at marketing_guru. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what those guys want to do with me. So marketing_guru, and then you can go to Skyton Academy. That's probably going to be the safest place because I don't really mix in a lot of things though. So those are the 2 places. We have QR codes in the back. And I definitely want you guys to scan them. One is to the masterclass next week, Wednesday. That's the plan. And then you can actually get the plan today. I like people to be prepared with the plan ahead of time. So you can come with your questions, print things out. If you have anything of value, print it out. Because when the lights go out, and let's say if you had a plan of action, you need a physical copy. I'm hearing some of the biggest financial institution guys and platforms talking about they don't own a computer. Then you don't build systems, my brother. Right? That means you don't own a printer. That means you are probably not as smart as you lead us to believe. So, and the reason I say that is because we have to get back to using computers. That's the only way that you build systems is through computers. The cell phone is limited. It's powerful, but it's limited.
Right.
You understand? So everything we're using on a cell phone is for an end user. And I tell my students all the time, you'll stop with this phone stuff. Get back on that computer. Train yourself to just sit somewhere as opposed to being on the go. Right? Distractions. Guys are listening to crypto talk in the gym, and that ain't it.
Gotta lock
That ain't
in.
it.
Storm, you good?
Come here, Storm.
Come here, Storm.
Nah, you good? Yeah, this is yeah. So we and
Is that Andre Green?
Andre Green is here. So listen,
Andre Green, Mr. Insurance. Wow.
Yeah. So what we're seeing now
brought out some heavy hitters,
we're
bro.
seeing a rise of a new Renaissance movement of men who move in accordance. I've been waiting for this for a while, guys. Yeah, they're on code for real. I've been waiting for this for a while. So once we can start to build that Mount Rushmore, that's going to be a powerful movement. We just got to get rid of a few cats. Mother Nature is taking care of that right now. But it was at the expense of a lot of people. And I do want to apologize on behalf of those individuals who took advantage of y'all. That ain't it. But again, survival of the fittest. So we just have to train. Discernment is something that my wife taught me. I keep hearing it, right? You can't trust everybody, right? It's in us. You're going to attract exactly what you're looking for. And if you're looking for money, you're going to attract some whole shit.
That's true.
I wanted just before we leave, because I meant to ask this question before, when you talk about like certain individuals and power.
Yeah.
So we don't have enough leaders in our culture.
We don't even know how to identify who a leader is, right? Because the alpha male is being attacked. You know, I'm toxic. What? Bugging. I'm here to protect. You know, so once you start to remove alpha males from the equation, you start to have, where's the protection now? Right? My wife and my children could thrive because I'm willing to do anything, anything to make sure that they're right. So imagine if we all adopted that mindset in community. See something, say something. I don't stop. I don't want to, that those terms, there's no power in how we move. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not doing this on purpose. This is who I am. So I'm just projecting exactly who I am. Right? I'm growing up a son, I'm fathering in a power role. You know, no one's going to be left behind in the community I build.
Wow. That's a great closing. Yo, we appreciate you. We're going to have to cut this up in like 2 parts, I think, bro. Yeah. Crazy. Great information.
Did you guys enjoy it?
Yes. Rob, housekeeping items.
Housekeeping items. Team Sock by Say podcast. Team Sock by Say on all platforms, wherever you follow your Instagram, whether it's YouTube, mainly YouTube. Team Sock by Say. So within a week, you'll see
100%. Right, Joe? Okay.
This is the man behind,
the most important person in the room right now.
Most important person in the room.
Gonna make sure this goes out. Team Sock Pase. We out.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.